in again. My husband was actually very organized today and made us a list of things that we want to talk about today. So hopefully there'll be a little bit less umming going on.
Well, still
So first point, there's none, is that we're still talking to our pastor friends, which is amazing and wonderful. We're so thankful every single day that A, we can talk to them, and B, that we hear from them every day, because obviously the situations being as they are, we never know day to day if we're ever going to hear from them again. So yeah, we were able to talk to a couple of them today and are very thankful for that.
So he has been sending videos to us from the gas station in downtown, and it was fascinating today because he's driving through his town and it's a beautiful day.
Hang on one second.
Oh, hold on.
Доброго дня, Вікторе. Так, ми робимо ці стріми для іноземців, щоб вони краще розуміли ситуацію в Україні. Бо українців так і розуміють, що відбувається зараз в Україні, а американці, наприклад, наші друзі тут не зовсім розуміють, бо вони знають тільки те, що вони бачать по новинах, по телевізорах, і вони хочуть краще розуміти ситуацію від людей, які там знаходяться. Тому ми робимо ці апдейти для них, щоб розповсюджувати правдиву інформацію, що відбувається з нашими друзями, з нашою родиною в Україні, щоб американці краще розуміли ситуацію, і тоді сподівання є те, що чим краще вони розуміють, тим більше вони будуть приймати участь в допомозі України. Так що, так, ці апдейти, вони англійською. Okay, sorry. I was explaining, someone had a question in Ukrainian, so I was answering their question.
Good job, honey.
Okay, thank you.
Showing the skills. So anyway, Pastor Z, try to go back to that, he had a bunch of videos where the gas line all snaking around blocks, people with containers, all sorts of things, trying to fill up their cars. And like I said, it was a beautiful day. Bree and I, her probably far more times than me, have been to that city. We recognize these places, and Pastor Z is pointing out his window saying, hey, they're trying to get food. They're in the pharmacy, but there's nothing there except for like little pills that it's not even really medicine. They're
Like
more
maybe
like
headache pills.
Yeah, or
something.
cough medicine pill things. And so he was just showing us, and it was just shocking. Sent us lots of videos of destroyed infrastructure and cars and tanks and just incredibly difficult things. And so you've got the sunshine and everyone's out, but everyone's out because they don't have jobs. They're out trying to find food and those kinds of things.
One of the most horrific parts that he told us is the Russian forces who have occupied their town have instituted a curfew, and they will shoot people on sight if you are outside of the hours of curfew. Well, he said people are so desperate for food and gasoline that they will get out before curfew ends in the morning to try to get in line for food and gasoline, risking their own lives. They're so desperate for this. And so because of that, if you don't get out early enough before curfew ends, you won't get food or gasoline that day, because it will run out before you get it, or you won't make it back home before curfew starts. So basically they have to risk their lives every day if they want to go out and fill up their cars or get food.
He was telling us, and I don't know or understand God's protection in this, but there is a village that's across the river from where his town is. and those people have been completely shut off from all utilities and food. I'm not exactly sure of the logistics. I have a bunch of questions too, but evidently they have nothing and have no ability to get anything. And for some reason or some opportunity that he has been given, he has been able to take food over a bridge into this village where there's a whole bunch of people, and he has been able to feed those people, which is amazing.
Yeah, my understanding, the best way I'm understanding it is, so this village is connected to their town by a bridge that goes over the river that separates them. The Russian forces are not allowing anyone outside of that village, out of that village or into that village,
Okay.
except for, I guess they've arranged for like one truck, like a delivery truck, to be allowed into the village. So he's using the money that y'all are sending, that then we're sending to him, to buy supplies, and he bags them up, puts the person's name on it and their telephone number. They load all of this into the truck, and then the truck takes these supplies over the bridge into this village, and then the people come to meet the truck and they get the supplies that have been sent for them. So it's just insanity that
I don't even know how he's getting his food either.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah, they're just finding, he said the stores are slowly becoming more and more empty. But people also are just starting to sell. Some people are so desperate for money that like they're killing their pig and just selling the meat out of
Like
their
farmers
car.
and stuff.
Yeah, on the street
Okay.
to try to make money. And so he's, you know, even if the stores don't necessarily have food, he's just driving around and finding people on the streets who are just selling stuff that they have. But unfortunately, the longer this goes on, the worse the situation is going to get, because they're not going to be able to replenish their supplies. So we don't even know what that looks like, you know, a week, 2 weeks from now. So we just pray.
We pray and we take it a day at a time.
Continue to send your donations to them and hope that they'll be able to find supplies or get supplies from somewhere as things run out.
Next.
The next thing we wanted to tell you about is one more area that we're able to give the donations that y'all are sending us. I was asked by a Christian Ukrainian radio station this week to talk to them on air. A lot of them know me because, if you don't know, I lived in Ukraine for a long time and was a singer there. So I have relationships with a lot of like radio stations and stuff. And so this radio station had asked if I would just talk to them online, encourage them, pray with them. So I had done that this week and found out that their radio station is obviously struggling. It's a listener supported radio station, and they're struggling for funds right now because obviously people don't have the money to donate to help them. So I found that out, and we were able to send them, we're working on sending them some funds. We've sent out a test.
Send them like
transfer.
$5.
And if that works, then we'll be able to send them more. But we're getting some money to them to help them stay on the air, because obviously in a time like this, a Christian radio station is an incredible resource for Ukrainians to have, for just a source of encouragement and peace when things are so hellish around them. So that's another place that y'all's gifts are being put to very good use, or will be. I wanted to brag on my Ukrainians a little bit and let you know I have a friend who is in Ukraine currently. She's there with Samaritan's Purse. She's worked with Samaritan's Purse for many years. She's been in dozens of different crisis situations in different countries all over the world for the last however many years. And we were talking the other day, and she was telling me this is her first time in Ukraine. I wish she could have seen it in better times, but she was just writing me. She had just arrived, and she was like, "Gosh, Bria, it's so beautiful here." And I was like, you should have seen it when during peaceful times, but yes, it is stunningly beautiful. And she said that she's been so amazed at the Ukrainian people and how they're doing the work themselves. She said Samaritan's Purse has planefuls of humanitarian aid that are flying in regularly. And she said the Ukrainians are just lining up themselves with their cars, their vans, whatever vehicles they have to take the humanitarian aid into the worst parts of Ukraine where the fighting is, where the people need this aid so much. And she was like, she said, in all of my years working for Samaritan's Purse, in all of these nations that I've been in, I've never seen anything like this, of people, the nationals themselves, just lining up to help and do whatever they can. It made me very proud. And obviously it's something that I know about the Ukrainian people, having lived there for so long, having lived through 2 revolutions with them, seeing their strength and their fortitude and their patriotism, and then having lived through 8 years already of this war with them, and seeing how they pull together and how they just support each other as a nation and as one big family. So it didn't surprise me, but it was very, very pleasant to hear someone else from the outside coming in and looking in and saying, wow, Ukrainians are amazing. I was like, yes, they are.
That's cool. And we wanted to talk about another of our pastors, Pastor A. And this is hard. As many of you know, the city of Mariupol, in the southeast corner of Ukraine, has been absolutely decimated. There's 340,000 people in that city. I liken it to a Leningrad in 1941, where all aid was cut off, and they were just surrounded by the enemy. And that is how Mariupol is now. There have been a few thousand cars that have been allowed to leave. Humanitarian, I don't know how they're picking those cars or whatever, but I can't describe exactly how Pastor A described the people, because some of those people now are moving west towards where he lives. So they're leaving Mariupol and they're finding their way, whether it's car or otherwise, they're finding their way to other towns and cities. And he gave us a message this morning. It was in Ukrainian. My Ukrainian's not up to snuff, so my lovely wife translated it, and I was just brokenhearted, hearing just the crisis that is very real. So if you want to share what Pastor A said, just a paraphrase.
Yeah, just to summarize, he was just telling us about, so yesterday, I think it was, kind of this humanitarian corridor was opened for people to leave Mariupol. And I think about the numbers, about 20,000 people were able to leave. So they started into their city. They started having a lot of people from Mariupol coming in. So they were putting them up in their house. They were putting them up in their church building, which we found out, he told us, they can't use their church building for services anymore because it is too dangerous. It becomes a target.
They had to take down their sign.
For the Russian forces. So they took down the sign labeling the church building as a church, and they're just using their church building now as a refugee center. Basically, people are living there and they're feeding them there. So they were receiving a bunch of dozens of people from Mariupol, and he just talked about their stun. I can't think of it in English. I guess, yeah, coming in. They hadn't eaten in 3 days. They barely had any water in 3 days. They had had no showers. They had been living in basements where there were no toilets. He said what broke him was seeing this large grown man, he said probably about 40 years old, come in and just sit down and sob for 5 minutes And he went over to him and started talking to him, thinking that he's sobbing because he's lost everything. And the guy said, "No, I just can't believe we're alive." He never expected them to survive and to make it out of there alive. And he was just so happy to be alive. So some of them, it sounds like a lot of them stopped and like slept, took showers, and then moved on, going further west. It sounds like some of them are staying with them, staying in their church building. They got a text message about a family that was in the basement of a school in their town who was asking if there were any other accommodations where they could go because they had a 3-month-old baby. And so Pastor A went to this school, and he walked into the basement, and he said there were probably 200 or 300 people crammed in there, and he had no idea how he was going to find this one family. And miraculously, this young family came up to him, a man and a woman and her brother, and they had a small baby. And he didn't know if it was this family he was looking for or not, because he didn't have a name or anything, but he just figured, well, they need help too, so I'll just take them. And if it's not them, I guess I'll come back. So he took this family and got them to his house, and they were talking. And the woman happened to mention, our baby is 3 months old. And he was like, wait, so are you the ones that I was supposed to get? And they said, yeah, we just didn't think we could stay there any longer because it was freezing, and our baby's only 3 months old. And so we knew we had to get somewhere else. So yeah, his home is packed full, kind of like my parents' home, of just refugees coming out of the worst.
It is the worst
of
place.
The places.
They have a wood stove, and so they're able to keep people warm, but they haven't had electricity. I'm not sure about today, but the previous 2 days they hadn't had any electricity. I just want to make mention of a message that Pastor Z shared with us a few days ago, and he said, I say goodbye to my wife and my daughter every morning, knowing that it could be my last morning. And it strikes me because these men and women, there's other pastors too that are working with Pastor Z that don't have any work to do. They don't have any jobs, and their congregations are scattered. They are not supposed to be doing what they're doing, according to those, because it is Russian occupied. They are defying orders by getting together, first of all, and collecting food for other people and going to places that they shouldn't be going. Pastor A actually bribes through Russian lines. It is really, really dangerous. And it's really hard because I love these men and women, and they are just doing ministry work that is superhuman for their emotional states, their physical states, and just being able to hold it together and encourage other people. I mean, and from what Bria and I have just said in the last 10 minutes, hundreds and hundreds of people in cellars, in schools, in their houses, in their churches. I mean, the funding that you guys are sending, it is keeping people alive. And
literally,
we can't show you all of the pictures. I hope, I just shared an album with Bria earlier today. I'm keeping all of the pictures that they send us over Signal. That's the encrypted app that we use. And I hope that I can just send them to as many of you as want to see them at some point within reason, because I would love to show you what they are dealing with. So thank you for trusting us. As you can hear, it just hurts. It hurts me. Bria was just saying that in Mariupol, they shot up a theater that had people in it.
They bombed a theater where people were hiding, mostly women and children, and they can't even dig through the rubble to help save people if anyone's still alive, because there's just constant shelling in Mariupol. There are literally, for those who haven't seen the pictures, there are literally mass graves in Mariupol because they can't bury the bodies. They can't give them proper burials, and so that they don't just lie on the streets and decompose and cause disease and attract wild animals. It's like World War II. They're having to dig mass graves and just dump bodies in because so many people are just being murdered in that city.
Yeah.
It's just unreal. I look at the pictures and I can't even believe this is my home that I'm looking at. It just feels it's hard to wrap my head around it. But because we're not just seeing these pictures on the news, because we have friends and family there and we're getting personal pictures and videos from them, we know this is real. This is very real. This is happening right now. Yeah, we just can't thank you enough for loving our people, for sending your hard-earned money.
Seriously, it's not easy right now.
Yeah, this isn't an easy time for anybody. Economically, everyone is feeling the crunch, and so that the fact that y'all are sacrificing what you have to help people who are in desperate situations, it's just incredible, and we can't thank you enough.
Yeah, sorry, lost it a little bit there. Maybe we talk about that like a different day.
Yeah.
Because we're at 22 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, why don't we end on something a little bit different, hun?
So speaking of helping people in Ukraine,
Dry my tears a little.
One thing a new idea that we've come up with a friend of ours to help people in Ukraine, but also give something, like for you to be able to get something and even show your support for Ukraine, is these shirts. We showed them to you the other day, and they are now available online for purchase. 100% of the proceeds from your purchase will go to us, and we will send to our people that we tell you about in these videos in Ukraine. So you can know that the money isn't just going to some organization or something that maybe one day will find its way to Ukraine. Like, it's literally going from us into the hands of our pastors and our friends in Ukraine. So go to, I posted on YouTube on my channel about them with the link. I posted on my Instagram with the link, my Facebook with the link. So I do want to cover a couple of things. We are not a clothing retailer, and our friend who's printing these, he's not a retailer either. He's literally a printer. So this is not Amazon. So the shipping is free. We did want to do that where the shipping is free, but we're only shipping within the continental United States, the 48 contiguous I learned that word today, contiguous states. And shipping, okay, so we're gonna sell them through, the website's gonna be up through March 26th. So you can order until March 26th. And because our friend is not a retailer, he's a printer, we're trying to make this as easy on him as well, especially since he's donating all the profit. So how it's gonna work is you can order until the 26th, and then after the 26th, after the store closes, then he's going to ship out all the orders. Because they're still, here in Buffalo, they're still a working business. They still have a ton of work. So they're doing this on top of their work. So yeah, check out my social media for the link. You can buy them either in sweatshirts like this. The white one is a hoodie, not a sweatshirt.
They didn't have enough stock for these crew sweatshirts, so they'll both be hoodies.
So there's either a white and black hoodie or a white and black t-shirt. that you can buy. People have asked about sizing. The sizing is pretty normal.
Yeah.
Jess usually wears a large, extra large, and he got an extra large and said it fits good. I usually wear a medium, and I wanted mine oversized, so I got the extra large, and it fits like a oversized, you know, shirt that's 2 sizes too big would fit. So I think the medium, my guess is, would fit pretty normal on me.
Yeah, well, the URL is freedomukraine.itemorder.com. freedomukraine.itemorder.com.
It's easy enough.
Easy enough. Whew. So that thank you so much to our friend Eric for doing that in just a few days, and we are very thankful for each and every one of you.
And for if you missed it before, for those who don't know, this is the Ukraine Trident. It's kind of like the coat of arms of Ukraine, and it stands for freedom. The word freedom is literally found in the shapes of the trident. You can look on my Facebook or Instagram for a post I did where it sort of like just like shows out
the letters
of how they're formed in the trident. Yeah, so that's another way you can support. Again, if you if you want to like get involved in activism, you can support, contact representatives and politicians and let them know that you want more to be done for Ukraine, to bring peace to Ukraine. Yeah.
You did great, hon. We covered a lot today.
We did. Thanks y'all for again for just listening and being interested, for wanting to be informed. There's a lot of false information going on out there. So we appreciate y'all watching and wanting to get firsthand information from the ground that we're getting from our people in Ukraine to know what the situation really is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keep praying. Thank you for your prayers. Pray for our people, our family, our friends in Ukraine. Pray for peace and justice for Ukraine. All right. I guess that's bye for now.
Thanks,
everyone.
y'all.